GM, everybody. Welcome to the Twitter space. Let me get Andre on the stage. Let's get Rika, Celo Europe. Well, guys, looking forward to this call. Very excited to talk to the Celo Europe team, learn more about what they've been up to in the space, and potential synergies with the Dev Guild. So we'll give a couple minutes for some more people to join, and then we'll get started.
GM, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Maybe next month, get the DJ equipment out and get a little live mix in while we're waiting.
Do you say live music? What did you say?
I was saying maybe one space you can get your DJ equipment out and get a little live mixing in, set the vibes.
Gotta figure that out. Yeah. I see Andre. Are you able to join as a speaker? We'll give it just one more minute, then we'll go ahead and get started. Typically, how we start things is we just do a quick update for people on the call that might not join the weekly calls on the regular, so you can kind of get an update as to some of the things that have gone since the last Twitter space. And then, we'll dive into an interview format of past, present, and future, and then go from there. Okay, so somebody requested. Approve. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, thanks everybody for taking the time to join this space. We're going to go over a few quick updates just over the Dev Guild, just highlight some things that happened since our last Twitter space, and then we'll hop into the conversation. So first up is the brand kit contest. We successfully completed that a few weeks ago. And had some really great submissions, great projects and designs, and also just brought in more designers into the Dev Guild. So very excited to roll out the new branding. We're still working on that, so expect that to be like a few weeks to a month to kind of get everything sorted and update our branding across all our socials and workspaces. And I'm just excited going forward to continue working with a lot of the designers that submitted in that contest. There's a lot of design opportunities coming up with some of our projects from a UI perspective. So yeah, we're looking to onboard these designers into these projects. So yeah, kudos to all the designers and all the work they did. It was really, really awesome. And maybe Matt could drop a link to the Joker if people want to take a look. Also, we did a couple workshops. We did a Charmverse workshop and multi-sig workshop since our last space, which have been very, very valuable. And also, big shout out to Nansel, who's been editing the workshops and then creating content to post on YouTube in the form of shorts and long form, the long form post of the workshop. So kudos to all that work. I think it gets a good amount of views compared to like our other content. So I definitely think it's a very valuable resource. So yeah, looking forward to more workshops going forward. We're gonna be doing a grant one in April. So yeah, stay on the lookout for that. Next up is Oboe squad staking. We have been getting our squad to go to mainnet for the past month or so. We're just at the gates at the final steps. We just have to have a collateral of like 2.4 ETH to then be able to receive the 32 ETH sponsored ETH. So we're just kind of figuring out how we're going to go about that. But yeah, making good progress. And we've talked about this on other calls, but definitely looking to onboard another cohort of squad stakers. So if you're interested in running a node, running some hardware, owning some staking rewards, or something you already do, be on the lookout and reach out to us to take part in this next cohort and join Oboe. And then lastly, just the other project updates, community hosts, which was started out of the Agentic hackathon with ETH Global. We're currently applying for a few grants there on Polygon to expand the agent, as well as with Unlock Protocol, which is one of the core aspects of community hosts. And so if you're interested in AI agents, working on projects like that, definitely reach out. They're always looking for builders to join the team. Then Green Goods is about to go into its beta pilot stage. We've had Alex from Cloudline who's coming to really help get it to the finish line. So really excited to roll that out to people. And it abstracts away all of Web3 using Privy and smart accounts. So it's a very nice application for non-Web3 users to use if they're trying to capture different uh, impact and different actions they're doing. And then also Allo which we're going to talk more about during this call with Celo Europe and exploring the integrations with Celo. Um, to help facilitate their payouts for Celo Europe, to help with cores running around the Regen Rio round, and they're paying out in Celo Real. So want to be able to have Celo integrated on Allo so that you could do payouts with that. With that. So those are the core project updates, and this updates in general. Maybe anybody wants to mention any few words before go forward into the interview. But yeah, I don't know, Matt, if you have anything, or I don't see Corey here, so.
I guess I apologize if you already mentioned the Giveth round, but yeah, Giveth round, GG23 coming up soon. All those community rounds, but nothing else to add. Looking forward to the interview.
I did not mention the Giveth round, so thanks for bringing that up. So yeah, well, yeah, I could drop a link to our Giveth profile, but yeah, we're in the ENS Giveth round. It's coming to a close. Would really appreciate any support, from people in the community. So yeah, definitely donate if you haven't already. And definitely make sure to spread the love. If you just don't donate to the Dev Guild, donate to other projects as well. Um, and yeah, thanks for any support. Um, let's see.
Yeah, you can find
Oh
all
yeah,
the
I think
tweets.
that's
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You can find all those tweets up in the garden. I also put a couple of the workshops. So there you go.
yes. Sweet. Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's it for the Dev Guild update. And now we have a lot of time to dive into this conversation with Celo Europe. I think we got a couple people from the team. I see the Celo Europe account here. Who's behind it?
Hello, hello. This is Joan from Celo Europe, but I think that we also have here Rika and Andrea.
Nice. That's John. Um, yeah, I see Andrea. I see is Rika on the stage. Yeah, feel free to join as a speaker, Rika, if you want to. But yeah, so we got three people from the Celo Europe team: Joan, Andrea, and Rika. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to this combo. I think to kick things off, let me pull up the questions. Let's see. Yeah, I think like typically first question, and the format we would do is past, present, future. So three questions for each section, and given we have multiple representatives of the team, I think we'll definitely fill out the time with these three. Um, so I think to kick things off, typically like to kind of learn the origins, kind of backstories of both Celo Europe and individually how you guys also gone into the space and found yourself in Celo Europe. So the first question to kick off the bat is how was Celo Europe started and how is it similar and different to the other regional hubs? And feel free to add your own journey going into Celo Europe as well. Joanne, would you like to start?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, that's a very interesting question, and it may take some time, so I will try to keep it short. Um, um, Celo Europe started as an initiative funded by the Celo Community Fund. As you know, there were like this kind of movement with the idea of creating different regional DAOs, um, building on top of the Celo ecosystem with the goal of being able to effectively target different opportunities. I think in the case of Celo Europe, it was like 3 years ago. It was a collective initiative promoted by Ethic Hub, Talent Protocol, Impact Market, and Collectivo. Actually, this is very interesting because in this case, Andrea and me, we were working at Ethic Hub at that moment, and we had the chance to collaborate in the construction of Celo Europe at the very beginning, at the initial steps of this initiative, handling and leading different kind of initiatives. For instance, I think that Andrea will explain better than me what she was doing at Casa Celo in Madrid. But that's knowledge and yeah, it's knowledge and context that we have been gathering for 2-3 years until the present moment. As you know, a couple of months ago, there were like a very important change at the Celo Europe team. And it was that some of them, well, in this case, people from Collectivo team moved to Celo Public Goods and keep running that program. And we decided to open Celo Europe to have a different kind of approach, something more open and more inclusive, with the final idea of potentially gathering all the impact builders in Europe. I think that that's like the genesis and what we have been doing and where are we right now. We're getting a lot of momentum. We're working so hard to properly align the different regional DAOs under the regional council umbrella. This is like a new initiative that was approved a couple of months ago, and the idea is to create this kind of coordination tools and effectively coordinate the worldwide community. It's not a small challenge. It's something that requires a lot of effort and a lot of thoughts. And at the same time, we are grinding so hard from different angles. So, for instance, as you know, Andrea is leading the tech team. She's doing an amazing work over there. Rika right now is running and leading the regional council by itself, like coordinating all the calls and understanding like the different kind of needs for the different regional DAOs. I am more like this kind of coordinator, being trying to support Andrea and Rika, and also trying to take the initiative with more partnerships, business development from the Celo Europe side, along with governance. But yeah, it's very interesting to be able to work with both of them, because the three of us we have been doing and we're doing so hard and achieving great things. And it's amazing to have like this kind of multi-plural and multidisciplinary team. And yeah, Andrea, Rika, I don't know if you want to add something, please.
Well, on this, thank you so much for having us in this space. Like, I think that you've explained it really, really well, Joan. That it's been a process, and on this, meeting you, it's been kind of like communicating, coordinating, and getting to know the best tools in the ecosystem. So on that, I think that you literally said what has been the past, the present, and what I think is missing a little bit is where's the future. But of course, like we don't know, and it's thanks to these kind of like meetings where we get to understand what are we willing to do.
Juan had mentioned about your Casa. I didn't fully hear that. Casa Europe. Yeah, what were you doing in
Ca- Casa
for
Celo.
Celo before?
Yeah,
Casa Celo.
that's something that Andrea was leading. The idea was to Andrea, do you want to explain about Casa Celo? Because actually, most of the things that she is developing right now had a genesis and an origin some years ago, and she's the one leading that project. So I think that probably she is the best one explaining that.
Well, I think that it's pretty aligned with what you're doing in Greenpill. That's how we also kind of like connected so well. You were the ones that made us discover chambers. I think that I have to mention here also our fantastic developer that is Bertrand, that he's also working for Celo Europe right now, making this tech possible. So on that side, what happened with Casa Celo was mainly how to start onboarding people and to have these metrics on chain. So we created these workspaces, these workshops. We created all of these membership mechanisms, and actually, we're now trying to optimize these things and all these activities that started 1 year ago in Crypto Cafe in Madrid, sharing this space and trying to share Silo to the world. And what we wanted to do mainly was that I repeat a lot, but you have all of our KPIs and our metrics on chain, which was the most pain to later understand all of the departments in the team and how are we working together. So yes, Casacelo lasted for I think it was 6 months, and we organized there a few IRL gatherings. Plus, we organized some workshops for the community.
Nice. And the Casa Celo end because of the transition to Celo Europe. Um, or was it just something that was just done for a short time?
No, that was one activity within the broader scope of Celo Europe. So Celo Europe
Got it. Okay.
have been executing different kind of initiatives, like the Celo Gather business development, trying to better understand what impact investors are looking for. We did that through different kind of research, focus on SDG tendencies and venture capital tendencies. So yeah, I think what is important here is not only to focus on Celo Europe by itself, because we have been doing quite a lot of things. Actually, let me find some reports so we can share it with them. Most of them are at the Celo Community Forum. But it's also very interesting. It's to now understand the different kind of profiles that we are gathering within this community. And as I was saying before, we have Andrea, who's leading the tech and the temporary team. We have Rika, with a lot of experience within the refi ecosystem and as well within the Celo ecosystem. He used to be ambassador like 2 or 3 years ago. And most of us, we share this final goal of trying to build things in a different way, using different kind of approaches. And we understand this must include the value of decentralization and collaboration.
Nice. Oh, Rika, I see Rika's on the stage. Rika, you want to give a kind of quick intro in your perspective?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me well? Because I was like coming back and forth. Sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, yeah. So yeah, I came. So I've been involved with Celo since a couple of years, as Juan said, because of I was an investor in Berlin, and I've been in the refi space, even what's not called the refi, with positive blockchain as well. So I've been always being around that, and for me, it's really how can we support and foster, solutions and builders that are actually thinking about real world impacts. They're actually changing lives and making, better systems with what we have. So that's my perspective. How can we do it? And how can we use these new tools that we have to be able to do that, right? And in different ways. And so in this space, like working in different areas, from events to projects in climate tech or NFTs or biodiversity. So try it out, everything, and see what we can do and what we can change and how can we move the space further. Also have the podcast, like the Portuguese fork from the Refi podcast. I have the Portuguese version of it. There was we have like one season and looking to create a second one now, to reach out also to more people in different languages. And it's what about Europe, right? So they have so many languages, so many cultures, and integrating this to the space and to the things that we are developing and doing, I guess.
I think that's a good segue into kind of the second part of the question, which is, what are some of the similarities and differences across the regional hubs? Don't have to get like too detailed, but just kind of, what do you guys like synergize on? Like, what do you guys kind of connect and collaborate? But where are you guys distinctly different and have different focuses?
Oh wow!
Maybe.
I think that we are in a very. Oh, sorry, Rika, do you want to take this question? Someone?
It's up to you. I could, but you started. Go on.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I think that we're still in a very early stage. When we talk about those collaborations, I think the first step was the creation of the regional council. So it's the first time that we have like, right now, I think there are like 9 different regional DAOs together, acting together, coordinating, understanding what's the goal for the Celo ecosystem. That's a major achievement for sure. Now we are identifying what kind of products can we build. What products from Celo Europe can be used in Celo Africa or can leverage on Celo Africa tools. For instance, Opera MiniPay. This is something that we have been thinking about and doing some research as well, like how to start implementing remittances payments from Europe to Africa and from Europe to LATAM. In this case, if we focus on the market on the LATAM market, it's at least from Spain, it's much easier because we have less entrance barriers when it takes to the language. So we keep evolving and iterating on the different kind of needs and potential products that we are identifying. And the challenge here is that at the end of the day, maybe we want to lead some of those projects, but we gotta leverage on other people. We gotta leverage on other builders. And I think that that's what makes Celo Europe something also unique, because we are trying to say, hey, people, if you want to build for impact using blockchain, I think this is a place where you can start. And our goal is to provide all those tools and all those opportunities to builders who wants to generate some kind of impact.
Yeah, I think it's well said. But I think what we, it's about also the values that unify us in this, and also this desire to collaborate and learn and build, and that's what it's moving. The different regional DAOs also, as Juan said. What can we leverage that was already experimented and applied in different regions, but translating to our own realities and our own things that we are doing. And that's where then we separate a lot, because each regional DAO has very different kinds of activities and they do different things. And because we have different realities, right, from different regions. So it's that's unifying this with, and using the regional council to coordinate this and facilitate it and be the support and the foster of this global collaboration, local what I should say is local focus, but with a global vision, and
Ethereum localism?
that's kind of sorry?
Ethereum localism?
Yeah, also this. Yeah, so that's it. Being very local, but with a more global vision. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I think throughout all our communities, especially in Greenpill, that's just a common thread is, identifying local impact, but then how we can scale it globally across different localities. I think what's really interesting with Celo, and maybe you guys could enlighten me. So is it that the Celo regional hubs were first formed before this regional council? Or was it when you guys started the hubs, you guys joined the council?
The council is brand new, actually. So the regional councils, they already exist since some exist since months, some exist since 2 years, 1 year, and then with the experience of new hubs appearing and or being established, and the challenges and the successes. So we then realized, okay, we need some sort of way of giving more voice to the local projects, at the same time being still more aligned with the global vision of Celo. And that's kind of was a natural way of moving things, when you talk about governance and how to do things and how to operate. And as I think Joan mentioned, or that it's also about experimenting. So you create a new form of governance within the Celo ecosystem, and we're experimenting, and it's being very successful so far in our vision. What we want to establish and what we want to create, and and kind of create mini foundations or mini agents of the whole ecosystem, because they're so aligned, but with specific activities in each region. So.
Yeah, just to add on this part, we've created this kind of path for communicating to learn from what other regional DAOs are doing. As we're having these recurrent calls every week, we have the chance to be sharing, and on this we have the chance to create these working groups that, even though they are fighting for their regional interests, they are also adding a global interest for Stilo as a global ecosystem. So on this, what it's nice is that we have now the possibility to be sharing with other regional DAOs in a frequent a regular basis. So that's something that has been really, really good. But also with this, all of this, we are facing all of the problems that come with owning the decision-making process, and that's not easy at all to handle. So we keep learning month by month on how to optimize now the structure that has been created in these last 5 months.
Yeah, and definitely want to dive into some of the challenges with coordination and governance, especially as you bring in more people across different spaces and with different ideas and thoughts. So definitely we'll dive into that. I think just to like give some of my thoughts real quick, like yeah, I'm very curious because I think the regional approach, I think mostly I like Greenpill, this kind of went very much just global from the beginning, right? Chapters all over, chapters that are more city based, that are more regional based, like Greenfield Brazil's, it's a whole region, compared to like Greenfield Ottawa, which is like a city. Um, so I do wonder. I think there could be a lot of learnings we could both take from each other, from like the different approaches, from like kind of going regional focus to then kind of coming together. I do think there's a lot of power in the regional approach, probably in a sense, because it allows for more focus, direction, and there tends to be more commonality. So it probably makes it easier to like coordinate, at the start. But yeah, I just think that's an interesting kind of, yeah, interesting thing to explore and how the different structures were both kind of created and the different focuses. Um, I think, yeah, I think let's see if there's anything else you guys want to add to this, to similar to the differences before going to the next question.
No, it's not something that I want to say. It's more like opening maybe the discussion, because as you say, it's very interesting to
Mhm.
understand that at the end of the day, we need to use the same methodology. And when it comes to deal with different regions and different teams, there are like this one side, it's about how do you coordinate? I mean, what kind of culture do you have? It's completely different to work with someone from Latin than someone from Africa. But at the same time, you need to talk the same language. If not, you cannot coordinate. And technology sometimes can provide it could be like the perfect tool to use for that, because numbers are translated in the same way everywhere around the world. So you can like parameterize metrics in the same way, but you need to understand and you need to apply this kind of emotional intelligence maybe, and understand that it's a different culture, it's a different reality, and at the end of the day you cannot measure in the same way. You need to identify and you need to implement different kind of approaches for each region.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's another great segue into this next question, around, yeah, what have been some of the challenges with coordination and growth, um, within Celo Europe? We could start, and then even larger at a Celo regional level. What are some of the challenges? And then second, to kind of then focus on the solutions. So first part is identifying some problems, and then second part would be some of the solutions, like what type of tooling, et cetera, could help with these challenges. Um, Maybe let's see, Andre, would you like to kick this off?
Yeah, okay, great on this one because I have the perfect example for this. It was a mess on decide what tool were we gonna use to coordinate our workspace. So on this we have a big discussion on either Notion or Chambers. So here that was kind of like that first moment of disconnection among the Celo Europe team members. Some of them were more used to use these Web3 tools, some others weren't. The UX that we face in some Web3 platforms is not the best, so that comes with a cost in terms of like the time that the team members are spending. So this was our first friction, and of course it requires a lot of like commitment from everybody to get and learn, to get and also provide enough resources to have everybody on the same level and to start using the same coordination tools. Another one was for event tracking. For example, now we are using Lemonade for our events and gatherings, but it's true that came with this time cost and operational cost on the level that we need to spend a little bit of time on optimizing these tools for our use. So that was kind of like the first thing that we had to face. What tools were we going to use and how? I don't think I have any other example now that is so clear as this one. So if Joanna will go on to add on this, that's amazing.
I think also adding to that, like, I think it's also a challenge, different regions globally, like time wise, and to align everyone, to have everyone sitting together to be able to decide things or discuss things. So these tools that Andrea also mentioned, it's good to do things that sync. Like a solution for that was, like sometimes people, it's too late or too early or whatever, and it's also too. And I must say also, it's also participation. Because not everyone as let's say, like, when you talk to many people, to coordinate too many people, make everyone participate to be really a decentralized or a community decisions or discussions. Sometimes it's also a big effort to make sure that everyone is there, everyone is participating and chipping in. We are very glad that like our council, we have very engaged people from all regions, but at the same time, it's to make sure that this engagement keeps going and people participating. It's also it's an effort in itself, and I think that the solution is also how can we facilitate that, and there's going to be async tools or Telegram or anything that can make the communication faster, easier, more direct, and yeah, I think that's my take on it for now, I guess.
Joanne, would you like to add to that?
Thank you guys for sharing that. I think actually that they identify that Yarvi said the real challenge. Another challenge here is to understand how we are going to monetize and what kind of revenue streams we are going to have. I mean, how do we ensure funding for this kind of initiative? Because there is something also very interesting when we talk about ReFi or when we talk about impact investment. I feel like sometimes some people from the community perceive this as a kind of NGO, non-for-profit, but we got to be able to create our own revenue streams. And I think that this is also something that we are doing right now, because at the end of the day, we are like a kind of a startup, and a startup focusing on using blockchain for impact, and a startup focusing on trying to empower people in Europe and worldwide. But that doesn't mean that we can forget about keep ensuring potential revenue streams and potential market opportunities that we can leverage on. This is more business oriented, but I think that also important to mention.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think that's like the second part of the growth, right? The first, the coordination is like with the different toolings. Are we gonna use Transverse? Or are we gonna communicate Discord, Telegram? And growth, yeah, the growth part is very much, I think, especially for a lot of us in the space who, regen focused. So yeah, maybe a lot of us, like, there tends to be less of a focus on business, or kind of maybe wariness, or not wanting to, kind of get into the numbers and stuff. But it is very vital to create a sustainable uh you know space, and just be able to continue building. So yeah, I think that's a key one to highlight. So maybe let's go on coordination, and then we'll go into growth and kind of the different tooling and what solutions could help with that. And it doesn't have to just be tooling; it could be also like maybe just how communication or just different ideas people have that might not exist yet. But yeah, I think with Andrea, you mentioned Charmverse, and um, yeah, I'm kind of curious to like learn how that's been going since you guys have chosen Charmverse. Yeah, what have been the pros and cons? Yeah.
For the pros, it's true that we had a really smooth coding process for all the regional DAOs, so we could kind of like have this workspace shared where everybody can kind of like have a voice. We love that part on it, but it's true that came with the cost that I've been kind of like the tech support on that, and sometimes I receive messages at whatever time, so it comes with kind of like a commitment on that side. And it's true that we have to keep improving. So the tool isn't perfect. It doesn't have all of the actual features that we need. But as we don't know them kind of like until we are facing the situation and trying to solve the problem, um, Yeah, it's true that, like again, we ask you if we can have another workshop to optimize now the use of the chambers for us, and on that, yeah, it's great that we can have this connection with the actual teams of chambers thanks to you guys, and that way we can keep optimizing what we've built already. But like on that, the perfect thing was the voting process. It was really cool for us.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and I think, yeah, and we'll talk more about this, of course, offline. But with Converse, and I think kind of pushing it forward, yeah, if we could like connect and synergize on like, all right, let's focus on Converse, getting this community's kind of push feature requests or improvements come from a multitude of multiple communities ask to update this or add this feature. So maybe that's something that we could start to align on so that we could help Charmverse progress.
Yeah, and here, like not to reduce it only to this tool, like I think that on that we had this call also with Hubs protocol, for example, and if we can combine like all of the features that all of these super cool apps have already, like I think that's where we can actually deliver something efficient and effective for our own community. Kind of like, okay, we have something, but we can customize in the way that it's going to be valuable for our needs.
Nice. And then the second tooling you mentioned was Lemonade. And this actually, just to quickly before we move away from Charmverse, I want to give a little a little backstory from kind of the Dev Guild and Greenpill usage. We definitely had a strong onboarding push, like with Xandra actually helping to initially onboard chapters to create them Charmverse spaces. I won't lie, I now love Charmverse and I'm like a big advocate. We did a workshop for it in the Dev Guild, but for months I did not like the platform. It was definitely in a different stage of development. I think it just wasn't as responsive and stuff like that. Yeah, I was so resistant to it. And I'm not even sure what really changed it. I think I didn't know about some of the on-chain features because I was just looking at like this is just a Notion clone that isn't as functional and performant. But then as we started to dive into the credentials, the on-chain voting, doing payments, I was like, oh, okay, really started to see the benefit here. So yeah, I think Charmverse is one of those tools that takes a little bit of time to warm up to. But once you do it, you find it pretty beneficial. And it still has its quirks and it's not perfect, but I think it gets the job done most of the time, 9 times out of 10. So yeah, definitely want to highlight Charmverse and shout out to Xandra and the Charmverse team. So going into the calendar and kind of socials and how you guys track that. So yeah, what was the discussion around Lemonade.social? What were some of the other options? I assume Luma might have been an option there. Um, and yeah, just curious to learn more about Lemonade because it's not a tool that we actively use right now, but I have heard about it. So yeah, curious to learn just about Lemonade.
Should I go on this, or Rita or Joan, do you want to?
You can go there if you want.
Okay. So on Lemonade, yeah, we tested for this first retreat that we did for Celo Europe, and actually the switch from Luma or from any other kind of like tool for events, it was that here we could track it on chain and we could have these NFTs already for all of our members, so we could connect it. So it was nice to start having that tracking on chain. That was our mainly why we started using Lemonade, also because the foundation told us to that was the tool that they were using. So to be coordinated and to use kind of like the same tooling, we started giving that chance to Lemonade. Here again, it's true that we are facing some, as with everything, we're facing some complications that we want to optimize it. You're already, I think, in Overtran, so on that, we want to make it the best version that it can be. So for that, it's true that we need to get in touch with the support team in Lemonade, and we have to be again collaborating together to finally have the platform and the tool that we need to track all of our activities. For these also, like we haven't started as it is to update all of our working like our calls to make them open. That's this discussion that we're having currently in the team. So what we want to do with Lemonade is to also include all of our open calls over there to have the community joining and to always have these on-chain metrics already on the level of attendees and who is the NFT, all of these things that come with it.
Nice. Rico, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's like there's all these tools from like for events and stuff like that. I think Andrea said quite well everything, but it's also we want to integrate the community, the ecosystem, Celo, and that's the tool that's being used now, and then so we wanted also to support that as well, and make sure that we all have our own chain tracking and everything else to be able to afterwards get the recognition that regions and events and people need when they do stuff, when they build stuff, and they make things happen. So yeah, just to complement.
Yeah, nice. And then Joanne, if you got anything else to add to that.
No, nothing to say.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I think for me with Lemonade, definitely take another look at it, because and it seems really really cool and really doing a lot of Web3 stuff similar to Charmverse compared to like a Luma and other calendars. I think it's just but that's kind of the thing that you realize the friction, because like yeah, everybody's used to using Luma, so like what's best for the community, and it seems like with Lemonade there's like this push at a larger level to use it, so that makes a lot of sense that the communities are adopting within, um, and yeah, so cool. Yeah, I'll get more into Lemonade going forward. Um, all right, and then going into the growth side of things, what yeah, Ron, maybe you could tee this off around like, yeah, what would help with that? What type of tooling is needed to facilitate the more business side of things? Maybe it's around accounting and a clear, tracking of, finances and numbers, but what are the things that could help with that?
I gotta say that I trust 100% on Andrea on that side, and I think that's what makes our team great. I know what I need from the real like business development side, and but there's something that we can like fulfill easily with Notion, like try having a traditional table or CRM, whatever it is, to track what we are doing and the coordination stuff. But as you said before, I think it's important for us to start using and to use exclusively Web3 tools, because that facilitates life to Andrea by a lot. And then she's like the one making some magic over there, the musician in some way, and gathering all the information. And actually that's amazing, because at the end of the day, that allow us to map out all the activities that we are performing and conducting, and what kind of impact are we producing into the community. Yeah, I don't know, Andrea, do you want to add something here?
Yeah, well, again, to say something nice in favor of Charmverse, I love that connection with GitHub on our side. What we really need to potentiate and to reward is these developers that are helping to build the ecosystem and make things and tools easier for everybody in this operational or managing process of these startups that are being created. So on that side, like what we are trying to focus on, to be honest with you, is to start kind of like understanding who are our who are part of our community, and that to be able and capable of reward them for the value and the impact they provided to us. So on that part, it's good that that's why we are also connecting with all of these dev communities on this side. I'm super grateful with having met you within Phil. So it's actually that trying to learn and understand what rewards do we have, what rewarding tools do we have available, and to start using them for our community and for all of our builders.
Love that. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. That's the path. Um, and I think Matt's gonna tell me about the POAP. I think it's POAP time. Um, so
You know
yeah,
it.
is that what you want to say?
Yes, please.
Thank
You
you,
you
brother.
have the secret word, correct?
Yeah, I do. I do. So to get the POAP for this space, which it's a really cool pull-up. We got a GIF and everything. It's really, really nice. Shout out to Nansel for putting that together. Go download the POAP app if you haven't already, which is on, I believe, called POAP Home. If you just search POAP, it should pop up. And then you'll click Mint, and then you'll click Secret Phrase or Secret Word. And then the code for this call is green-Celo. So that's green-Celo. So that's taking the first part of Greenpill and then Celo. So green-Celo. So let me know if you have any issues. The Mint window should be open. I'll just make sure that it's happening. But once again, the code is green-Celo. Cool. Yeah, if you have any issues, just send a message in the chat. And yeah, the window's open for another hour or so, so there's plenty of time. Don't even need to get it now. You can get it after the call.
Were you able
All
to
right,
mint it
back
out though?
in.
I think I'm not sure if the window's open right now. Might be a time zone issue. I saw Kaz had a
Oh,
thumbs down too, so maybe.
okay, thumbs down. Let me. Okay, now yeah, they always do this weird stuff. So it did it for the next day. I don't know what it does. All right, that's why we do these things. It should be. Let's see.
Yep,
It should be live.
there you go.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Thanks for sorting that out. Cool. So yeah, we got about 10 more minutes. And yeah, I guess let's get into this last question and then to close things off. I really want to focus this on the synergies, the potential collaboration points between Greenpill and Celo Europe and the Celo space at large. Yeah, as we continue into 2025, what initiatives and partnerships excite you and you're optimistic about being successful? Maybe we could first, start with Juan. Yeah, what initiatives and partnerships excite you for 2025?
Yeah, thank you. And everything I'm saying, please, Rika and Andrea, add to my comments. Again, as we were saying at the beginning, I think that Celo Europe and the Celo Regional Council is getting a lot of momentum. And one of the things that we are trying to do is identify this theory of change for the Celo ecosystem. So, at the end of the day, this is like having a big funnel. And at the end of this funnel, what we have is the idea of having a successful business model and startups running on top of Celo, because that means that you bring TBL, you bring volume, you bring transactions, and you bring builders to the community and to the blockchain. And that's the ultimate like business model, as we were saying before. That said, it is very interesting because we are identifying like the different stakeholders within the Celo ecosystem and how they are acting and how they are collaborating with each other. And the only thing that we are doing here is trying to brush up those collaborations. Like instead of having atomized actions, having linked actions that bring the ecosystem and the community towards that end goal. And here we have like opportunities like organizing hackathons worldwide, or even more interesting, like identifying different kind of products that we can design, or the different teams can design collectively, and then try to get initial funding through grants or acceleration programs like Presenti, Celo Camp, and other examples. I think that those are like the kind of collaborations that we are looking for, like communities and partners that wants to leverage on our technology and that want to offer also their own technology and build together. And this more from the product side, but obviously like co-marketing strategies, webinars, events. We have some budget for the next 3 months to sponsor community-driven events in Europe, as well to some research. So yeah, there are like a lot of potential synergies over there. Rika, Andrea, do you want to add something here?
Well, that was beautiful said. I want to talk about the grants, but you said it first.
Sorry, man. Sorry, my fault.
That's okay. No, it was great.
But actually, that's something that we were discussing today. I mean, before this call, like Rick and me were talking about, it's time for us to start thinking about how to allocate the grants. But then it's when we have to talk and coordinate with Andrea and say, hey, Andrea, you are leading the membership program and you are leading all the Web3 tools. So we collectively need to understand how we are going to design that strategy and execute it. But yeah, I think that this is something pretty funny and interesting.
Yes. Adele, you want to add anything?
No, this is perfectly said. At the end, what we are doing is we are creating all of these paths to get funded, to get the things that you need. Even if you need developers on one side, we can also be kind of like partnering between projects. So it's kind of like that. After knowing what's on the table, kind of like potentiate all of the tools that we have and to reduce the time costs on just having to wait until you get to understand how to access the community, how to ask for the grants. So this way we can activate faster and better in that way. If we are planning also for this hacker housing track later, like at the end we want to make it in the best way possible. So if we can also reduce this time cost or the friction with later giving up the bounties to the winners, that's kind of like a cool part there too. So we have a lot of like use cases ready to just move and start building all together and make them happen. So that's just the thing that I want to add. But you've been said, like mostly all of that at the part of the grant, I think it's really important here.
Yeah, for instance, I mean, the instance that we saw today, Celo Builders, I think it's the name. They just announced like a new hackathon, this kind of monthly hackathons from April until May, partnership with or along with Opera MiniPay and Mental Labs. So that's the kind of opportunities and that's the kind of things that we are looking for. I mean, we can identify potential potential resources within the ecosystem, and what we're trying to do at the end of the day, it's like aligning those resources with the goals and the necessities and opportunities that we have identified, then building up like the different teams or trying to partner with someone that can provide different kind of value than the ones that we provide, and then go for it together.
I love that. And I also want to add, to kind of chime in and join this conversation myself with the Dev Guild and Aloe Eater. I know that we've been talking, we had a conversation yesterday around integrating Aloe Eater on Celo, which is, for anybody who's not aware of Aloe Eater, it's just a simple allocation tool where you're able to upload a CSV and send funds to different people with different amounts. And we want to be able to bring that to Celo to one facilitate Roy, who's going to be doing who's doing the Regen Rio round and wants to have a tool to do payouts easily. And then a part of that was like we should definitely reach out to other Celo communities. So I reached out to Andrea from Celo Europe, and then from there we started having conversations. And I think, to me, a lot of our communities do similar things. Like we all have like a similar flow. Like we receive grants, we have different initiatives under umbrellas that we then typically fund and work on. So there's a lot of similar admin process and stuff. So finding ways where we could be using the same tools, um, as like the Charmverse now, right? So now with Charmverse, I could support Andrea, and then even Andrea could support me with like new features and maybe new things that I'm not aware of, with Charmverse and stuff like that. Um, so it's kind of this, creating this beneficial relationship that could help us better use these tools and optimize for them. So I'm really excited with Aloe Eater to do this Presenti grant, and then be able to find ways to continue to iterate and improve that. And I know we talked about it yesterday, so we don't want to dive too much into it and the stuff we just said there. And of course, we'll continue having conversations. But just wanted to bring that up as something that I'm excited about as a potential partnership between Celo Europe and the Dev Guild and Greenpill actually as a whole. Yeah.
I'm super excited on that too.
Same
Yeah,
over here. Yeah.
And Joanne, I definitely want to get your we haven't really talked about it in depth, so I want to get your insights and thoughts. And I know we will. So looking forward to that conversation. Um, but yeah, actually we're all near towards the end. See what time? Yeah, 9:59. So definitely want to kind of bring this to a close. Want to thank thank everybody for joining. This has been a great conversation, and glad we're able to facilitate everybody. Hopefully, you guys felt like you guys were all able to speak your mind. Um, and yeah, really appreciate the Celo Europe team for accepting this invite and joining us for this. What is our ninth space? So we're getting to 10 soon. So yeah, appreciate everybody here. And if you haven't got the POAP, one last reminder, or maybe you just joined recently, the code is green-cello. And to get that, download the POAP app and then go to Mint and choose the secret word. And then once again, the code is green-cello. I'm going to pass it over to Matt if he has any last minute updates or things he wants to highlight before we close the space.
Yeah, another awesome space.
Thank you so much, guys.
Shout out Celo Europe. Sorry if I was talking over somebody. I missed what that was, but yeah, thanks everybody. That's another awesome space. Definitely looking forward to these on a month to month basis. So I guess yeah, just some quick updates. The Giveth ENS Octant round is running. I think it's for about another 4.5 days. Dev Guild's in there, Greenpill Network's in there, Greenpill Brazil's in there, Refi DAO, Balloon, ton of regens in there. Definitely, yeah, G23 coming up. If you're not playing the Dev Guild Charmverse, hop in the Discord and come to the Tuesday calls every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Sweet. Thanks for that, Matt. All right, everybody. Yeah, have a good Friday. Have a good weekend, and yeah, hope to chat. Talk soon, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, team. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.